No.
Mm.
Gosh.
Wait. Oh, give me a shell. Nice.
Sorry, the guy in here that was the XC wanted me to scuttle into a private call.
What's you try to move private call? What?
Yeah, because he wants to talk about something with me.
Um,
Um,
I guess
I'm not gonna reveal too much. But not going
yeah,
through the best point in his life, so
yeah,
he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to just share that with you. So
Give me a shell, please.
he wanted to go on a
okay,
private call, but I'm not.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm not just gonna join a call and then go. All right, I'm leaving. How come
I
you're
mean,
back in Zoo?
like, what do you mean by that?
Well, you weren't in here for a while, and
Oh,
you
wins by
don't
default.
have the same interests as the people in Zoo. So I was wondering,
I'll be right
how
back.
come Zoo?
Oh, um, uh, there's a lot to it. Like, it's a lot of personal stuff, but the main thing would just be I was in a really bad relationship. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I changed a lot during that, but a lot of ways
I don't want to
I
put in the
guess
storage.
there isn't a way to necessarily say better or worse, but I would say that my life had gotten better substantially. I just made a lot of mistakes and ended up not being in zoo for 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Oh, is that you? You consider that one of your mistakes?
Oh, what? Not being here? Yeah, I uh,
You guys like my new weight
I
effect?
abandoned like everyone essentially, like in my life, and I was like, wow, like I never am gonna do that again.
Uh-huh. So, that's interesting. Okay. Because I don't want to inquire too much. I'm going to go on some personal deep dive in your life on, why you left Zoom or whatever. Because it seems I don't really know you that well. So, I don't feel comfortable inquiring into somebody's personal life.
I feel like shock might just come like now.
So, I
Yeah.
guess I'll just leave that there in terms of. Um, I don't want to.
Okay.
It feels as though if I wanted to know more about
Oh, that's
why you left, so I'd have to inquire into your relationship,
that's fun. I don't think
and I don't want to do that. So
I like the
I
sense
guess
that
I'll move the topic along.
passive is not good because you're
Okay.
not
um,
able to actually choose which direction you want. You have
yeah,
to
I'm
choose
I'm
like which
I'm
item you want.
curious
Like
in terms of
early there.
because I remember talking to you. I remember you getting me into JoJo's.
What would
I remember
that be?
watching Part 3 and all that. Um, and I hear now that you don't even really like anime that much or at all. I was curious because I was never really too into anime, but I still occasionally watch it, dabble in it, and enjoy some products to do with anime. Do you just completely dislike anime? Is there no anime for you?
Every fucking person got to take
Or is it one of
it.
those, oh, I don't like, mainstream, nonsense that's, really nonsense, as traits that you don't like? What is your relationship with anime?
I just took the gap.
Um.
Gold mine respawn probably shouldn't change because the
It's kind of a
shell
load.
gold mine is where the gold
There's like a
you have
lot
to actually
to this.
kill the
um.
guy in first
I
to
had
get top spots, especially with
a lot
pickaxes.
of like my life kind of just exit my mind. Uh, it it actually caused a lot of issues in my life too.
You know, go through
Like I
there.
remember one of the things was like
Okay,
in like
that's
my
like 57.
relationship, like I forgot
Did find the
half the
capture
things that
card.
happened in our relationship. Um, this happened like during when I was like in training, and tons of things like exited my mind. And
Oh, you can. That's
I don't
fascinating.
know. I like talk about it with people, and I kind of describe it as like it was like a trauma thing.
The strap.
Uh-huh.
Um, there's obviously a lot more to it
Doesn't really
because,
matter.
like we were talking about with like the relationship thing. But yeah, no, I exited like tons of things from my mind,
I just
and
didn't mean to
I
drop it.
remember
Meant to pick it
before I
up.
went to training.
Ooh,
Um,
sliding fin.
obviously there's more to this because the whole relationship thing, but I I like was starting to not want anything to do with anime,
That draft, bro.
Mm-hmm.
and then after training, like I essentially anime just like left my mind. Like it was not
What do
a
you have?
thing anymore. It
Oh,
wasn't
I got that
important,
locked in first on my
Mm-hmm.
phone
and I
so I
had
can
no
grow in a faster
interest.
timing than him.
And yeah, no, that was a few years ago now. And yeah, I just
Manipula just dropped.
over time, the
Oh,
only things that I really had as a
there's one.
like representation for anime was like
And
the cringiest, worst, like
depression.
grossest things, and I
Okay, that's 5
just
points.
remember I was like, yeah, no, this is not for me. And
Yo,
so I could
dude!
see how
Thank
now,
you so much
like
for the
especially with
message, man. At 2:30.
um
Thank you so much, dude. How was your stream?
how I used to be, like
Monster.
how anime was like a big part of my life. I could see how now it's probably like, what the frick happened? But yeah, it's I guess the best way to describe it would be like
Surfer.
essentially like how like you used to know me. You should almost like
Nice.
kind of like exit that from like your mind of like who I
Wait, hold on,
was,
hold on.
like like it was me, but I barely even remember like half the stuff that happened. And um so like anime is just like fully like not a thing I'm into, and it's not because of like mainstream or anything. It's just because like I don't
Can you
know.
try this?
Every time I see something with anime,
Oh my god,
it's
I actually
it's
almost
either
dropped mine
something
again.
sexual, it's like something cringe that I'm just not into.
But you obviously know
Like
that anime isn't like that because you've seen anime. If I talk about my favorite anime, Monster, it's nothing like that. And you've seen Monster, right? You know it's not like that.
Makes more sense.
see, that's the thing. Yeah, I've seen these things. I've I know a little bit about it, especially because recently I've started to kind of like remember some things as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
Trickies and talking to like a firm and everyone. Um it's really sparked a lot of like memory. Like one of the animes that I've started to remember a lot about
That's
is
good. That's really
Kaiji.
good.
Oh yeah, Kaiji. I remember trying to get you to get. I think I was the one that recommended it to you.
Really?
Yes.
That's yeah, no. I remember that they make a lot of references to it, and I've started to actually like catch on to what they're saying. And but like a lot of other animes, no. Like Monster, I don't really remember much about Monster. Um, someone made a reference the other day, and it like totally flipped my mind.
Well,
It was one of my like IRL friends,
that's
like from
but
back in the day. They're like online friends now,
I
but
think it's fun because
Uh-huh.
um, yeah, he like made a reference, and he was like, "You really don't remember anything about that?" I'm like, "No, not really." Um, but
nice.
yeah, I mean, I know.
Very fun driving.
Well, I
I actually
I've
got that on
definitely
the
heard,
adventure ones.
I guess, that there's animes with just like really serious topics, and like they're good,
More to use, more
but
fun.
I don't know, just if you already aren't really into something, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, I mean, there's like a few good ones, like why don't you watch those?" It's like because I guess I don't want to.
Short
Like I already
duration.
have like a you know not really a want for I don't know watching or diving into something
That's so funny.
like
Yep.
But
because there's a few.
that's not an honest representation of what happened. It's not. Oh, there are a few good anime. You should watch these,
But
and you're not really into it. It's
not.
you are really into this, and now that interest has vanished, and you've sort of took on a caricature view of what anime is, which it isn't. And you know, it's not one of those things where I understand somebody not engaging in something that they don't know anything about, and it's why would I take that risk? If somebody's telling me to, oh, you need to go and come to this casino, you can win so much money. Why would I risk that? Because I've only a few people win, but that's not the case with you. You were thoroughly enjoying it. You were way into anime more than I ever was. I'm not really into anime. I just bring this topic up out of interest. Of this could be with anything. If it was with, I don't know, if you're into some video game that you now no longer like and have some really strange views towards that are a caricature of what the game actually is or what the said hobby actually is. It's really strange to me. You were super into this.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's fine. I
But
just finished what I was saying.
no, I don't view it as like a risk at all. It's just disinterest. Like, I don't know. I guess I might be kind of representing it wrong or
Where does
something.
the disinterest come from? Because it feels as though it's a proactive disinterest rather than a passive disinterest.
I don't. I'm around a lot of people now where like they love anime, but you have to realize like that was not the case for like you know almost 3 years.
Right.
So I mean, this is not even something I really think about, but now it's something that is brought up all the time.
Uh-huh.
These people are all bringing up anime. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say I'm yeah, I hate anime. Like, and it's something I talk about like all the time. It's not. It's not the case. I just everyone's always talking about it, so I guess I'm just kind of in the middle of that. Like, I'm like, oh yeah, cool, whatever. I
Mm-hmm.
don't hear too much, like and then um, I guess there's like a few people that are like, oh yeah, like you should watch them again. And I'm just like, I don't really see a need. I don't really want to. I'm just other
That
things I'm
seems
kind of
strange to
doing.
me. It feels more of a proactive disinterest rather than a passive disinterest. I'm disinterested in many things that I just don't engage in. But if somebody told me to engage in it with honest, I would attempt it because I have no knowledge of what you're talking about, or like no knowledge on the said hobby you want me to engage in. So if you really want me to engage in it, sure. But your disinterest seems proactive, that you're proactively stopping yourself from engaging in particularly anime. It makes me think that you have an, a weird relationship with anime.
I mean,
Because,
that is true. That's not like false at all, which that goes back to what I was saying about like, there's some stuff that happened in my relationship.
uh,
So, yeah, I mean, you are right about that. There is like, I guess, a little bit more to the story, which would make kind of quite a bit of a difference. But, um, yeah, I mean, it definitely adds some like, I guess, some resentment towards anime.
mm-hmm.
And I guess it would really just add a lot of resentment to kind of like who I used to be, especially due to the fact that, you know, I'm not. Wow, that was a terrible voice crack.
It sure
Um,
was.
I, yeah, no, it adds a lot of resentment for who I used to be, but especially because I'm like really nothing like I used to be, and a lot of who I used to be isn't even in my mind. So some like especially when I was in a relationship, a lot of who I used to be kind of had like a lot of repercussions. So it's like, it's like,
That's
dang, that
really,
sucks. That with me, you know. But
that's really
obviously, it was.
interesting that you see yourself as so different because to me, I haven't talked to you in a while, but you don't seem, your disposition seems similar to what you were
Really.
before. Yeah. So you feel
Mm,
shame towards who you used to be.
for sure. Yeah.
Why is that?
Um, I guess who I used to be wasn't who I wanted to be. Um, I always had like an idea of the type of person I wanted to be, the things I wanted to do, you know, all these different things. And at the time, I guess, I mean, I didn't really have anyone in my family pushing me in any good direction. And everyone in my life, like all my friends and stuff, like I wasn't very communicative on what exactly I was trying to do. So no one was really pushing me in a direction that I wanted to go in. And then I got in a relationship, like a 3-year one, and she had essentially pushed me in every good direction. Everything I've ever wanted to do, she was like, "Yeah, no, you got that. You know, no problem." And so I essentially have, you know, almost. I mean, this sounds really bad, but like a lot of my goals, I've achieved almost everything I wanted to, and now I've had to make all new goals because it's like, you know, I've literally done everything I set my mind to, and it's like, well, this is pretty cool.
What
And
did you want to do? I'm curious if you would like to share that.
A lot of active things, like I have a few goals left, but like a lot of them are career based. A lot of them are kind of mindset based. Like one of the main ones was obviously joining the military. I wanted to do something to do with firefighting, and then I ended up doing um, well. There's a lot to it. I don't know how the UK is with certain things, but I ended up being an EMT. I don't know if that's
what that is.
An emergency medical technician. So like an on the go nurse.
Paramedic.
Yeah, yes, that's a great way to put it. It's a beginner paramedic, but normally EMTs are firefighters. So I ended up getting attached to like fire calls and stuff like that. So I ended up essentially becoming a firefighter, but never really. There's a lot to it. I never ended up. I got my fire training, but I never became a firefighter because a more an opportunity with way more money came to me, and now, you know, like I make I think I told you about it. I make night vision for like our military, other militaries, civilians, and stuff like that. And it's like a really high up job, but it ended up being one of those decisions that I made after I got out of my relationship, and it's something I kind of a little bit regret because, like I keep on saying, you know, I made all these decisions and I started pushing myself in a like really well. I wouldn't even say I was pushing myself, but you know, when I was in a relationship, she was pushing me, you know, and then one of the decisions I make for myself, it's like I quit on one of my dreams. Like I was like, oh yeah, I always wanted to be a firefighter. Well, I was right about to be a firefighter. Like I was probably a month out, and I completed everything I needed to, but I switched up because of money, and it's just like, dang it, that really sucks. Like I wish I wouldn't have done that looking back on it, but now it's like I'm very committed, and you know, I can change it later in life, but I'm definitely stuck for a long period because financially I don't have the option.
Welcome to competitive Mario.
Yeah, so I've had that. Obviously the military thing I ended up picking, so I don't know how much you know about like I don't know, like military jobs and stuff. I ended up picking like one of the hardest ones, and I went through like one of the hardest trainings. I became essentially a cop, but like a cop where, you know, when I'm in America, it's like I do cop work, but if I go overseas, it's like essentially just like almost like a terrorist detainee security. And I don't know, it was a really cool thing. I was like, wow, you know, you know, I had at one point my 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 folks, like my mom and everything, they were like, yeah, no, you know, that's a really cool goal, but you'll never be able to join the military. And then not only did I join, I did like the hardest thing you can do right before like any type of like special force, you know, like kind of MOS or job. And And on top of it, I basically almost became a firefighter. I became an EMT, and now I have like the best job that's in my in like my city county area, and yeah, I just kind of made it overall in life. I have my own place. I have absolutely zero family where I live, so everything I own is my own. I've had at all, not a single bit of help, because I can't rely on anyone, which is kind of led into my mindset that I currently have. Like, it's kind of this really like this earned not given kind of mindset, and I'm really glad for it though, because it became so like it's made me so self-reliable. Like I've never been like this self-reliable before. I mean, every single thing I do it on my own, you know, like I don't need anyone to help on anything. And it's like, you know, I'm not the type of person that would refuse help either. I believe that people, you know, if they're offering something, it's because they either have something to give or they have a kind heart. And, you know, I'm not going to refuse at the end of the day. You know, but I don't really get options like that ever. No one's really trying to help. So, but yeah, no, I just, back when, for example, like you knew me, I relied on everyone. I didn't have basically any really money to my name. I was dead end job, but I thought, hey, yeah, this is a career. You know, person I was is like, just, I don't know. It kind of did the wrong thing all the time. Now I've like a ton of integrity. I feel like I'm always kind of, I won't say I'm choosing the right thing, but I don't know. Definitely feel nicer as a person, which is something I've kind of always wanted to feel like. I don't know, why be a jerk? What's the point? You know, like I'm kind of glad that I've changed in all these different ways, kind of like mentally, like who I am as a person, what I feel like I'm represented as. I mean, I know no one online really sees who I truly am, but that's because, you know, not only do you have prior knowledge of who I was in the past, but you aren't really able to fully see who I am. And a lot of what I am, I have to just tell you. You know what I mean? You're like, oh, you did that, and then on top of it, you have to, you know, believe it. You have to be like, oh, this like loser from back in the day, like he's done like all these things. You know, it's like
it's really. I didn't know really. I didn't know any of your situation before, so this is the first time I'm hearing it. So when you say, you know, loser, I never really saw you like that.
Really?
Because I didn't know your situation. I wasn't really the things that we did together were engaging in hobbies, so I saw a different side of you. But it's really interesting the way you put it, you know, who you really are. I don't know that I don't get to, from your perspective, I don't really get to access who you really are, because it seems from what you told me, you gain a lot of your identity in your ability to rely on yourself. I think it's really good. I think, you know, I think what you've done for yourself is really good from where you came from to what you are now. The fact that you are able to rely on yourself.
I really appreciate it.
And you overcame having a dead-end job, and now you're doing one of the hardest things, aside from doing some special ops stuff in the military, or that your local county provides for you. I think that is really good. I think that is excellence, being able to achieve for yourself. So definitely there is no I understand that why you would feel very proud of yourself, because from what you were telling me, even though it didn't really sound from your inflection, but just the way you presented it, it definitely seemed that you were proud of it. And I think, yeah, you should definitely be proud of what you achieved and being reliant on yourself. So yeah, I would just say that to congratulate you. But on that topic, it's really interesting because it seems as though the way you present it is that I won't know who you really are. That's really interesting because you sort of separate how you interact on the internet as who you really are. And I see that just a lot in life where, let's say somebody's, this is something that would come up a lot where, just in social groups where somebody would say this about something. Let's say I'll just use an example of Adam, just a random name that comes to mind. Oh, Adam acts completely unlike himself when he's in a group. He's just so nice, and then he just acts like a cunt, when he's in that group. And they sort of separate that. They separate Adam, who he is in a group versus who he is alone. They sort of see it as he's not acting as himself. He is not himself. Which is really interesting because that never really made sense to me, because wouldn't that also be who he is? You can't separate that. That's who he is. That's how he acts in an environment, and that is a part of his identity, whether you want to associate it with or not, which is really interesting because who you are on the internet, and the way you present yourself, that's revealing to me of who you are, at least on the internet, and how you interact. That all that's gonna come out. How you want to treat people, how you interact with people, that still exists as a part of you. So when you say, I don't know who you really are, that is a perspective you can have. And sure, I won't know who you are proud of, what you are proud of, because you can't. That's not something that's going to be shown on the internet. You don't have your income next to your name and what you've come from. There is no leaderboard that exists on the internet, so I'm never going to see that and what you're proud of, as what part of your personality you're proud of. But I still think that how you act and the qualities that you show, even in small situations, like talking to your parents, talking to a brother, a smaller brother or sister, that still is indicative of who you are, at least in that environment. I would say, anyway. I don't know what you think of that perspective.
No, I really agree with what you're saying. Like, who you are online is a part of who you are. I will say, I think that you I think maybe I represented it wrong or something, but I also don't think you really know who I am because I don't talk to you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I didn't even know anything about you prior to that, apart from the on the face disposition that you showed to me.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with what you're saying a lot. A lot of people, actually, they're kind of. This sounds so cringe to say. I don't really know what the right word is, but like kind of who they are online, I guess, is a very part of their personality because it kind of actually brings to life.
I think you lagged out a little bit. I missed the one.
It's a very big part of their personality actually, because people will go online and they'll be whoever the heck they want to be. Like one thing is that I've noticed this a lot because I don't know. I do have so I talk about like a lot of like good things that I've done, but I have struggles. A lot of them are like I don't know, like therapy related level kind of struggles, like things I really need to work on about myself. I accumulated a lot of violence. We talked about this not too long ago, but I have an issue of like kind of speaking my mind. I'm really good at keeping work life and my personal life separate, but like if something irritates me, like I don't know, I've been on this story like throughout the week, but like I remember someone was like following me home whenever I was coming home from drill or something, and I was like, what the, because like I like cut him off slightly on the road. Like my type of way isn't like driving off or trying to lose him. Like I came to a stop, got out of my car, and he drove off. That's usually how that interaction types, like those interactions go. I'm not like really afraid to interact, get in someone's face. I don't care. Like not against that, and a lot of those traits, like people they'll like go online and kind of act like that's who they are, but that's because on the confidence they're behind like a screen, they don't actually have to interact with anyone. Like I don't know, this sounds really bad. Like I know I'm not going to win every fight I get into. I know I'm not all that and more. I understand that I've been destroyed. Like, I've literally been like bloody to a pulp because I'm retarded and I get into fights I know I can't win. Like, like I this, but I'm still like, that's still my personality at the end of the day. Like, I'm confrontational when it comes to things, and you'll get the same online, but there will be people who act that same way, but in person they'll run.
Yeah.
So
the internet gangster, yeah.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying with that. So it's like, what you are getting online. Sorry, I'm representing this so bad, but what kind of who I am online is actually who I am. Like, when I speak and I'm not like really afraid to say my mind and stuff like that, that is who I am. I'm not hiding behind this screen. I'm talking on a phone, like, I view this as like a phone call, and like, I don't care at the end of the day. It's hard to see that as well, because there's so many people where they'll say all this and more, and then you come face to face with them and they're nothing like what they were. And that's who I used to back in the day when you used to talk to me. A lot of who I was, it was, hiding behind a screen. It was pathetic, really. I mean, I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the frick was I doing? But
so you were talking
now,
shit to people behind the screen back in the day?
yeah, I mean, I would act all cocky. Where the heck? I don't know where that was coming from, because the honest truth is I had nothing to show for it. I mean, like, I don't know what that was. I guess I was just a kid. Like, that's a bad excuse, but I was just, I didn't know what I was doing, and I didn't have the experience yet to be like accountable for my actions. But now I do. Like, something happens and I'll take accountability. Like, even when I mess up, it's like, yeah, no, that was me. Dang, like, sucked, but we come back. That's I'm not afraid anymore. Not saying I don't still have like fears or anything, but like, I'm not like afraid of kind of repercussions. I'm not afraid of what my actions, like, well, I'm saying this all wrong, but I think you kind of get what I'm going at here. Like, what you're getting online is actually me, which is uncommon, I feel like. Which I don't know. I actually do kind of want to dive into this as well, but this is a later topic, I guess. I'm kind of curious if that's like kind of what you offer to the table as well. It seems like a lot of you kind of represent yourself similarly, and you kind of speak your mind when you want to, and I don't know, there's something respectful about that. But what I am curious about is, like, does that translate? Is that how you are in, like, your day to day? Like, I don't know. I like learning about people. I don't like it just to be about me, but it seems like we're kind of deep diving into me at the moment. But yeah, no, I wanted to ask you about that. Like, you normally like, in like your day to day, are you out there, like, how do you go about situations? Kind of curious.
I'm definitely physical. When it comes to physical interactions, I've never been a physical person, so I don't fight. I'm not like you. I figured hearing that you get beaten to a pulp and that you invite all those interactions, that's insane to me. I think it's just a longevity thing when it comes to. My parents never taught me any of that. The people in my school were not. There were people that would fight, but that was the people that I hanged out with, definitely not the fighting sort of people. I'm definitely more, I'm more into computers, so my friends are into computers, we're into gaming, so we're into gaming. I was definitely more so into gaming than they were, especially when we got older. One of my best friends, he got into skating, so he was part of that life. But not really physical fighting, so that's not in my mind to go and beat up somebody. So is that something that you? I'm just curious. Did you learn that from the military? Is that something that you that mindset? Where did you pick that up from, or was that always a part of your life? Would you always, even when you were back when I would know you in I don't know what year that would be, maybe 2021, 2020? Would you be fighting people too?
No, not at all. I know exactly how I developed the mindset that I have. I even remember when it happened, when like the first like interaction, and I also think I've represented myself really bad based on the way that you're kind of explaining it. Like I don't just get in fight. Like I would just say that I don't really back down from like a conversation, and people get very upset about that, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care. Like if
Mm-hmm.
something happens, I'm not afraid. Like it's not something I struggle with. But I guess it really, I guess, kind of coming back to the root, like the origin of how it started, would kind of give you a better understanding. There's this term, specifically in the Marine Corps
Mm-hmm.
and in the military. I'm not in the Marine Corps. I'm in the Army, but
Okay.
I it's this term. It's a secret 12th general order. It's like a whole like joke kind of thing, but it's like genuinely how a lot of military like personnel kind of go about their life. It's like what the frick was it? It was like, I'll guard my post from flank to flank and take no shit from any rank. It was something like that. I know it sounds so cringe, but like there's more to
Mm-hmm.
this. um yeah, so essentially it's kind of like I don't care. At the end of the day, you could be any rank, you could be any size. I don't give a crap. Like that's not that doesn't change what I believe in or who I am, and I'm not going to just change it because you're bigger than me.
Mm-hmm.
That's not. I'm not going to like. Let's pretend this is such a bad example, but I'm tired. So let's pretend I like chocolate ice cream, and you're like, yeah, no, people that like chocolate ice cream, like I freaking stomp on them. Okay, like so
Mm-hmm.
no liking chocolate ice cream, and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna stop liking chocolate ice cream because you stomp on people that like chocolate ice cream. I still like it. Okay, so if you
Uh-huh.
ask me what my chocolate ice cream, like I that's how it is at the end of the day. And yeah, like I don't know. I remember how it all started. I remember so when I went through training, there were multiple segments where we were trained in like combatives, at a beginner level, at an advanced level. The advanced level is more specifically targeting the police operations, but the beginner level was more for like a basic infantry understanding. Whenever I was going through the initial like basic training for the army, which that's a whole nother story because what I had to go through isn't what people normally have to go through. Like I guess the best way to put it, I had basic training environment instead of like 10 or 13 weeks or whatever, like 10 for the Army, 13 for the Marine Corps, all that. Mine was 22 weeks. So
Whoa.
like a lot of people, they they're like, oh yeah, those 10 weeks were the hardest 10 weeks of my life. Like that
Yeah, double.
sucked. I had to double that,
Mm-hmm.
like it sucked because
With
half of
it.
it same intensity. Half of it was the infantry basic training that all the army gets, and half of it was the police academy. So it stayed the same, the intensity the entire time,
Mm-hmm.
uh, which is rough, really bad actually.
When it comes to your peers in the military, are they violent?
Yes.
Um,
Oh my. They all are getting like therapy for it, and it's something that actively, a lot of them, they can't really receive therapy because therapists are really bad with dealing with them. Like, this one guy has a story, and I remember hearing it and be like, wow, this guy is just like a little much. I remember he was talking to his therapist online or something, and he he was like explaining his issues. He was like, yeah, no, I struggle with violence, and like I don't remember exactly how he described it, but she started yawning or something. And he started like screaming at her. He was like, when I'm talking, you're not gonna yawn, like all this
mm-hmm.
stuff. And
That's really funny.
And then she was like, "Yeah, no, it won't happen like again. Like, like I am actually interested. And if I yawn, it's just a part." He's like, "Well, I don't want to hear you yawn." But
Mm-hmm.
like she like mute her mic, but he could still see her yawn. And he literally it happened like twice or whatever. And he went off on her and then left and then like he stopped paying for his therapy. I was like, "Yeah, no, so
Mm-hmm.
you're never therapy because little things like that, like so it's hard because you develop these kind of I don't know anger issues, which
Mm-hmm.
I got my fair share of them. I mean, I don't know. I'm very good at holding it in, but
Mm-hmm.
if something really near and dear, it's like, yeah, no, there is no holding back. Unless, honestly, I do such a good job occupationally with that though.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. Work life, I can separate it entirely. I've had people say like the most crazy things to me where I'm just like, wow, I can't believe you said that to me. Like there was
Mm-hmm.
one example. Like I've had my ears have been like really blown out. So I have trouble hearing. I'm really deaf. Um
Mm-hmm.
so I was on the job and I well this one's not even like the worst one, but I guess it's just an example. There was someone. It's at this job too, actually. Um, I was doing my job, and I'm next to a really loud machine. Um, and this coworker walks up, and they said something. I don't know what they said at all, and I was like, "Sorry, I can't hear you." Like I have a lot of trouble hearing, and I remember they like went off on me. And they were like, I don't understand why you can't hear me. I said that loud enough, and like, you should definitely be able to hear. Like you got to get your ears checked or something. I just remember them going off on me. I'm like, yeah, no, my ears are blown out because I was training to go like fight for you.
Oh.
Like crazy that you're going off on me about this. Like, and I like didn't even get a chance to say this because they went off on me. It's like I would have definitely told them this, but like they just went off on me and then like freaking darted off, and I was like, what the heck? Like, why are you going off on me? Because I can't hear you very well. Like, I'm sorry, I struggle with hearing. Like, you could have
Mm-hmm.
just I don't know repeated it. Like, is it that bad? But like
Mm-hmm.
that side of the military, I would not take that. Or not military, sorry. Out of work, I would not take that. No way. Like it's like, why are you going off on me? There's no reason to go off on me because I can't hear. I can't hear because I've had crazy things. I've done crazy things in my life, and all for really good reasons. And you're going off on me because I can't hear. Like seriously, that's ridiculous. There's no reason
Mm-hmm.
behind that. But they did that, and I just got back to work after they went
Mm-hmm.
off on me and left. I don't know. I'm really good at separating work life. I really am. But
Mm-hmm.
outside of it, no.
Right. I only stay here for a few more minutes because I do want to go and talk to EXE. He's
Yeah.
really not in a good place. I don't
Yeah.
want to divulge his stuff. But I just have to say, you getting vulnerable with me, I do appreciate that because I won't lie, you coming back and everyone was, you have to understand that I wasn't really close to you at all, so I didn't really even know your disposition on how you acted on the internet. So this is the first time I'm hearing about you shit talking. I saw you as somebody that was someone that was someone that was sort of nerdy, wanted to share his hobbies, and was really into I think JoJo's at the time. So that's how I viewed you. I never had any sort of complex view of you. So the other people in here were definitely a lot more. You talked to them a lot more. They knew a lot more about you and how you presented yourself. So hearing from people that they sort of had a resentment to you over you leaving because you were sort of a big part of the friend group for them, and then you coming back and there's sort of no confrontation on anything about what was said to me about you, it was really strange. Where is this, what was this heat that was towards this guy? And so I was just suspicious of what they were saying and how they
Huh.
sort of what they presented to me. So why I'm asking you these questions is because who are you? I actually don't know who you are. How come you left? I'm suspicious of you off the bat. I want to let that be known that I don't know who you are. I'm trying to find out who you are. Because I truly don't, and
Yeah.
and because there is, from what my image of you, because I didn't know anything about you prior, is resentment that was levied towards you from other people in here. So after let that be known, let the plan be known, rather than go, oh yeah, it's happy, jolly, I only have positive feelings towards you and everyone's happy. Nah, that was definitely not the case while you were gone, before you came back.
Yeah. What do you Yeah, no, I will say one thing. I'm definitely not knowledgeable about all this. Like I don't know anything cuz no one tells me anything, I guess. And I'm also, I guess, not seeking the knowledge. So normally, I guess online people just kind of keep things to themselves. Like maybe they had resentment and they won't say anything to me. But like people had resentment. I know Near did. That was, I know one individual did. He apparently was talking. I don't know. He was like talking crap or something. But I heard he was getting like it was like major instigation or something. Like he was getting like instigated like crazily. I don't know. Like I haven't heard anyone have any resentment, but I
Mm-hmm.
guess people honest. I I don't know. Maybe they just don't want to tell me or something. Which I mean, who cares? Just be honest with me. I don't care. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
no, I just didn't know about any of this. You don't have to say anything. I didn't know that was a thing at all. To be honest, everyone kind of just left me in the dark about that, which I don't. Whatever, I guess. I don't
Yeah,
care.
to me, that's weird because I have a lot of opinions. I have a lot of opinions on. I say I have a lot of opinions, or I just made that known that yeah, I am. What would you call it? I am curious. Why are you back? Who? How come everyone is sort of? Why is it all jolly jolly now? Why is nobody saying anything? Let the air be cleared. Maybe they're just happy that you're back, and it's sort of one of those nostalgia things where their feelings of being left behind can, build, resentment. It's like, how come this guy? It's sort of confusion. How come this guy left us? And that builds resentment, and then that dissipates. When that person is back, they don't want to even confront that because that will be uncomfortable to confront any sort of negative feelings, because that could push the person away that has just come back to you. So that could be the reason why none of it's brought up. Any sort of, is this person really back for real? Is it just sort of this, fling that's happening when you're, sort of in between a relationship? They don't want to bring that up so they can, preserve the sort of status quo that, could be ephemeral. Sorry, I can't speak right now. But I really that was a really fun talk. I definitely enjoyed talking to you. So I am gonna leave. That was fun.